All right, we are live on YouTube. I just need for this video to connect on my other monitor so that I can grab that link and put it in our group so that our community can conveniently join us in the YouTube live and in the live chat. So I just need that link to pop up so that I can throw it in the group. Boom, there we go. Let me make sure I can see the live chat for you guys. Um, okay, there it is. Cool beans. Well, let's get started. Welcome to your first Six Figures Morning Show, where every show is intentionally more of an interactive coaching and training experience to position you, the online service-based entrepreneur, to generate your first six figures by learning how to make the money and create time freedom. This week's blog is at shaycannon.com/story. That's shaycannon.com/story. And I'm going to put the link over here in the YouTube chat for you guys. Because what we've been talking about this week is storytelling. Four stories you need to have as a part of your brand, because storytelling is just amazing at helping people to retain who you are, who you help, and what you help them with, right? It's storytelling is what helped them to remember the transformation that you bring. Storytelling is the heartbeat to the connection of your brand. So we need to start using more stories. It helps the retention. It helps people to evoke emotion around what you do. It's just important. Okay, it's no way around it, right? It's the beginning of how you build a relationship. It's funny because online I've been watching this little boy. His name is Cody. His mama's name is Nikki with two K's. Anyway, that little boy is so funny, and I did not know they are from my hometown or my home state of Alabama. They're from the city of Bessemer, which is really a subdivision of Birmingham. But the way that they tell stories is what make you feel connected to them. Nikki as the mother and Cody as the son, right? You already feel a connection. So they're calling us, his internet aunties and uncles. And so stories, they are so important. But this is a four-part series. We're on part three, and part three is community-focused stories. Community-focused stories. So enhance your brand's role in creating and supporting a larger network of people. Create a community. Now, let me go off script right quick out of this blog and tell you guys that that I say as a part of your sales process, you need to have your own community, right? You work so much harder when you don't have your own community that you're nurturing and cultivating. Now, there are a lot of people out there that say, oh, it's just too much work to have a community. You got to figure out what to post. You got to post all the time. Sometimes the people don't speak back, this, that, and the other, whatever. Well, let me explain and remind you that if you don't have your own community that you're nurturing, you always have to go into other people's communities to try to pitch your offers and try to quickly turn a cold audience into a warm audience. See, your community is a warm audience that's turning into a hot audience that will be the first to buy your stuff if you cultivate the community. It is worth it. So even if you see it as something hard, you're going to have to pick your hard, because it's also hard to go to a cold audience that belongs to somebody else as a community with their own rules for you to go over there and try to sell. So you may as well have your own community. So pick your heart, and I'm going to say pick community. Now, when you get your community, we're going to talk about the community that you're building, and the community at large is what we're talking about for community focused stories. Okay. So these narratives showcase collaborations, charitable efforts, and initiatives to foster a connection and goodwill. Nurturing. They demonstrate your commitment to making a positive impact beyond profit. Positive impact beyond profit, which strengthens your brand's reputation. The stories build emotional connections with your audience, as they're more likely to support brands that align with their values and contribute to causes they care about. Okay, I want y'all to think about some of the big brands that are out there that make a lot of money from the Black community and don't ever give back to the Black community. Baby, they tear them apart, don't they? Every now and then you make a misstep. You know what I'm saying? They come after you and they remind you, you're making a lot of money for the Black community, but you have no initiatives to help out the Black community. And this is why big brands like Nike has certain sports programs that are for our kids. This is why big brands show that they give back, right? Because it's important to have this community focused initiatives going on that you can then tell community focused stories about. Okay. Now, this is the morning show. So we're going to come away from the blog because I give you more on the morning show. So let me go to these show notes because I have 10 strategies for you to start thinking about how you're going to create your community focused stories. And when we do the round robin, in studio, we're going to start with Dr. Latoya with the question of which of the strategies for creating community-focused stories would work best for her community. All right. Let's go with the 10 strategies. Number 1, you can do community-focused stories around a charity event your brand sponsored or participated in. Okay. I love sponsoring events, especially events that I know that my people care about or that I know my people are participating in. One of the two. Okay. Number 2, a partnership with a local organization or nonprofit. Okay. Because that's community still. So what partnership do you have with a local organization or nonprofit that we can build a community focused story around? Number 3, a customer driven campaign for a social cause. There have been different client led causes that I have then been a part of because it was a good cause that the rest of my clients and my audience would be interested in. Okay. Number 4, how your brand fosters connection in an online or an offline community. As you guys know, I'm starting to share more about what we do inside of our free business mastermind so that people outside of it understand all the good stuff we got going on inside. So I tell stories around it, and I need to tell more. And that's another thing. When you get your community, you need to start telling people outside of the community how great your community is so that you are recruiting more people inside of your community. All right. Number 5, a story about the people who make up your community. I need to get back to my community member highlights. I think I did one and didn't do any more. So I'm going to start highlighting y'all as members of the community, especially you guys that show up in studio and show up for the events and all of that kind of stuff. You deserve highlights, right? I want more people to know about you, but I'm also going to do one that's going to pull some of these people out of the shadows, right? People that, we've never seen anywhere, never said anything, never reacted. We're going to start pulling them out of the shadows to get them to be more engaged. Number 6, how your brand celebrates cultural and local traditions. Okay. I love bringing in, not necessarily because I'm an expat and I got global living going on. I love bringing in some of the cultural events and holidays from the places that I live. Like there was the year that right around Halloween, I did Halloween, which is a US based, holiday that even some other countries celebrate. But then I came right back behind that and did Day of the Dead. So I did the painting of the face. I explained what Day of the Dead is in Mexico. I explained that it is not the Mexican Halloween. It means something so much deeper that has to do with your ancestors. Shout out to Dr. Latoya. She's our super ancestor person. But even things like Cinco de Mayo, right? That is not the Mexican Independence Day. Just because it's the 5th of May, just like it sounds like the 4th of July, does not make it these people's Independence Day. It is not. In fact, it's around a battle where they actually help us keep our position. I think it was from the French. I forget how the story goes. I remind myself every May so that I can tell you guys. So definitely tell the stories of the culture and traditions. Some of them can be where you're from, the state you're from, the city you're from, that you're domiciled in. It could be somewhere that one of your clients is from. But we need to start telling more and celebrating more the cultural and local traditions that are tied to our brands. Okay. Number 7, success story from a community member who benefited from your initiative. We need to do this more, definitely, because we're out here transforming lives and having an impact. We're not showing and we're not telling how we're doing that. We need to do more stories around the community and how they are benefiting from us and the initiatives that we're putting forward. Okay. Number 8, a behind the scenes look at a community focused project. Okay. I'm telling you, It's easier to do stuff like that for product based. Y'all know we could do the boxing and the showing the mixing of and the putting together of. Where us service basis, we still have our prep stuff that we're doing too. It's just not as physical like that, or it doesn't come to mind. But you can show yourself putting together an outline on the computer, or interviewing somebody as an intake, and then how you put together the plan or whatever. You have behind the scenes also as a service based business. You just have to think a little differently. It comes easy to product based businesses, but we have behind the scenes for service based businesses also. All right, number 9, how your team volunteered time or resources to a cause. Okay, how did your team? Okay, now that could be, if you don't have a team like VAs or whatever that work for you, it could be other service providers that you use for your business. It could be independent contractors. Who are you connected to that helps you in your service to other people? Then they have something going on where they have a cause that they are behind. Okay, so think in terms of team being wider than just a VA or people that work directly for you. Think about the service providers to you and the vendors to you and things like that. Okay. Number 10, a collaboration that brought your brand closer to its audience. Okay. I love to see collaborations between brands that I love, or two brands that I love. For example, when some of the higher end luxury brands do a collaboration with a shoe brand that I like, man, please. Yes, I want some Tiffany Nikes. Yes, I do. So think about how you can collaborate with another brand that your audience cares about, where your collaboration will evoke an emotion from your people, and then we share about that collaboration. All right. Now let me go through the 10 without all the extra, and we're going to start with Dr. Latoya. Tell me which one of these will work great for your brand to do a community-focused story. Let's start with number 1, a charity event your brand sponsored or participated in. Number 2, a partnership with a local organization or nonprofit. Number 3, a customer-driven campaign for a social cause. Number 4, how your brand fosters connection in an online or offline community. Number 5, a story about the people who make up your community. Number 6, how your brand celebrates cultural or local traditions. Number 7, a success story from a community member who benefited from your initiative. Number 8, a behind the scenes look at your community focused project. Number 9, how your team volunteered time or resources to a cause. And number 10, a collaboration that brought you closer to your audience. And you guys know I also have a ChatGPT prompt that I'm going to share with you just a little later. But we're going to start with Dr. Latoya. Dr. Latoya, which of these community-based stories do you know would be a good one for your brand?
Highlighting the stories of the people in the community.
Yes. Yes. I love that. And we got to do that more, y'all. Again, this week I've been talking about it's your turn to brag. We got to start bragging more about what we do, because in our personal lives, when we were growing up as kids, we knew it as bragging, right? But now, as we are business owners, it's not really bragging, it's marketing. We need it. We need people to know how amazing we are. And so we have to take the time to share how amazing we are. We can't be afraid to do that. We can't think, oh, well, people are going to think I'm better than them. We don't have time for that in business. That's a personal view that's even outdated. So we are not trying to be quiet about what we do. We're not trying to be modest. We're out here trying to brag and tell everybody the good that we do so that we can do that good for more people. All right. Let's go to Cheryl. Cheryl, which of the community-focused stories will be great for you to use in your brand?
I've pretty much done almost all of these, actually, but one that really was close to my heart is the school had a contest for writers, the high school, and the person that was running it dropped out. And so I grabbed a couple of friends and we did the contest, but we turned it around and we gave everybody a gift. Everybody placed because these kids, they were writing. I mean, they were doing their thing, and it just turned into a great event that launched into a program that I started doing concerning youth at risk. And until they could physically remove themselves from the risk, we taught them to write until they could, write themselves until they could, move from it. So every last one of these has such great impact on the community, and the community never forgets, because so many people, it's as you say, we will take from the community, but we don't give back in a way that's meaningful to the community. If you give somebody a gift and it's not something they want, then it's just another thing that goes in the closet. But if you give them something that they want, or even what they need wrapped in what they want, they never forget. And many times they end up having success stories that they sponsor around what they do.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for that, Cheryl. Let's go to Dr. LaFera. Which one of the community-based story strategies would be great to share for your brand, Dr. LaFera?
Probably highlighting the stories of the people. Yeah.
Do you have one, Dr. LaFera?
What is it?
Because you help people with something that's hugely important,
I
right?
don't see the code.
Their health. So when you think of the example that you gave, can you think of one of those stories?
The one that come back to me. I'm looking for something for
Look,
my son for DoorDash.
Look, I threw it at you, didn't I, Dr. LaFera?
Well, he
No, I
came in
wasn't
here
thinking
talking
of it.
about what's the code, and I don't see a code.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's Kimberly, you can put yours in the comments, in the studio comments, if you have it, because we know you can't come off the mic. So let's go to Shawana Kennedy Media. Which of the community-based stories would be great to share for your brand?
Well, I too, like Cheryl, have done a number of these things. Even when I think about this current year, I've partnered to show visibility as well as to extend things with my youth nonprofit. Also, highlighting individuals. I created a whole show based around highlighting my community, and in efforts to do that, to not only show their brilliance, but then to also, of course, then it leans into what I do as a brand. So that way I was able to bring the two together, highlighting how beautiful they are. And that was something, a special series that I did actually even this year to highlight my community so that other people knew what was going on in the community.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what I love is that most of you are doing these things, like you're doing the execution of these things, but you're not sharing them. So again, I need y'all to start bragging on yourself. So I'm glad that you're already doing these things, but it needs to become a part of your content regularly, how you're sharing about these things. So all week long, we're giving you these types of stories you should be telling. Use these different types of stories. You should be telling at least one of these stories every week, if not each one of these kinds of stories weekly. Okay. Let's go back to Dr. LaFera. I think she's ready. Dr. LaFera, which of the community-based stories you said that you were going to do, and then give us an example, because what you do is hugely impactful in the medical arena. And so I would love to hear, do you have one of these such stories that you're going to be using?
I do. I have a couple. Mine are mostly family members or people that I know personally because of what I do. But so one of them is I help someone to get their energy and everything back by changing what they eat. I made a few modifications um to some of the things I told them that they should be doing, the movement that they should be getting. And they went from being a person who's had cancer, they still have had cancer, but and a person who's had autoimmune disease too. Now always getting asked, like, what they're doing, because people that went to school with them, they say they look the same. And so I help other people do similar stuff. I've helped people with ADHD, like not take medication anymore and go from barely surviving in school to being honor students. Just, I won't say just, but by changing what they eat. And I don't I haven't talked about that, but I'm getting ready to start.
Yeah.
Because it's so freeing to give somebody their life back, just by, like going to the kitchen, or, doing like little, I say little, but doing changes like that. And they're so impactful and important to like somebody's life. And they don't even realize that they have that power. So I do need to talk about that more.
You do, you do. Now, keep in mind that the community-based stories are about how you help people as a group, okay?
Mhm.
And the individual stories are going to be what we talk about next, which is part 4, the client-focused stories, right? So when you're
Mhm.
thinking about one individual, that's going to be client-focused. When you think about a group,
Mhm.
that's community-focused. So just keep that
Yeah.
in mind.
So
And
I
we
need
want
more
to tell both.
community thing.
Yeah, we definitely want to tell both. Cool
Yeah.
beans. Thank you for that, Dr. LaFair. We appreciate it. Keith said he wants to do number 7 and number 8. So now I got to go back to my little thing and see what 7 and 8 was. So 7 was a success story from a community member who benefited from your initiative. And number 8 was a behind the scenes look at a community focused project. I love that. And some of the behind the scenes you could do, Keith, is you can start with a clean slate and show how you come up with a design. Just, time lapse you to actually design it. I love that. I would watch that like I watch some people clean the rugs. Let me tell you, I watch it. Let's go to what Kimberly said in the chat. She said, I collaborated with a local breast cancer nonprofit for their annual retreat. We did door massages and everyone got a small jar of my soul cream. I don't know what a door massage is. Is that a door prize massage? Maybe. I'm not sure, but I love that. So definitely. And that means all October, you need to be going back to the one time that you did it too. If you don't do it as an annual thing, you can definitely go revisit the visuals and stuff from that one time that you did it or a foot massage. Cause I was like, girl, what is a door massage? A foot massage. But you can also use those same pictures for years to come to invite people to donate towards that cause. So yes, I love that. Let's go and see what they're talking about on YouTube. So Glow said, hey, and Dewana said, hey. And so to answer the question, Glow said, when I do my introduction for the podcast, it's bragging something like telling people how they are missing out on good conversations and how they can chime in, etc. That is bragging. Go ahead and let them know how great the podcast is, how great the conversations are. That is bragging. But I also want you to start brag on the impact that you're having for people, so that you can build stories around it. So for example, Glow, the conversations that you're having can be pop culture conversations, they can be relationship conversations, but they still have an impact, right? Because these conversations, sometimes people are thinking about things in a silo, right? They have one train of thought, and it's not until they hear somebody else have a conversation with opposing sides that they're getting more information that helps to shape their mindset around something. So how you can brag with the impact of things is people saying, I never thought about it like this, and now I'm going to start doing that, right? So conversations can do that. And so you need to start talking more about what happens in the transformation as a result of the conversations that you are fostering, Glow. So that would be great. All right. I would love to hear if you have any questions about brand focused stories or service or offers focused stories or community focused stories. I'm going to go to the announcements and give you a moment to think about these questions. All right. Well, you know what? First, let me go to this ChatGPT prompt that I promised you. And I want to share it so you can look at it while I tell you what it is. Okay. I'm showing the right thing. Okay. So create a story about how my brand, insert your brand, has positively impacted a community or supported a cause. Include details about the initiative, the people or groups involved, the specific actions taken by my brand, and the outcomes or changes it brought about. Okay. Conclude with how this reflects my brand's values and strengthens its connection to the community. And then you say, ask me questions so that you can write the best and most compelling narrative to be used as my community story. All right. So that is going to be the prompt that you can use to help you do some of these 10 strategies and even more with coming up with your community-based stories. What you got, Dr. LaFera?
So for me, Just what I do like for this business isn't what I do on a daily basis for my job. Like as far as like creating these initiatives that you're talking about, are these ideas? I know you just gave us the prompt, but like what are some things like when you think about me, easy things that I could, I guess, be doing that I'm not doing to like to make it more of like a community focused thing without, I guess, throwing like a big event or like even what like have like a meetup or something like that and like get to know like how do I do that on a community level without like throwing an event or something like that.
So you already know that the way that you do something, if you don't want to host it, right, you go to where it's already being hosted and you help out over there.
Yes.
So that's how you do it. So either you're going to host something, either, in person or virtually, either live or pre-recorded, or you're going to jump in on something that somebody else is hosting and you're going to add value, because
Okay.
basically it's just about helping the community. So either you're going to bring the community to you, or you're going to go to where the community is, or you're going to show up to where they're going. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've shared stuff like events with people. So okay.
Yeah. But it's also not just about sharing, it's you share too, because that's one of the strategies.
No, I mean like
It's
show
also,
up and participate
yes, there
and
you
like
go.
do stuff for them. Yeah.
But so now it's just about sharing that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I hear you guys saying, like, I do all of these things. I do these things already, but are you sharing them?
Nope.
You see what I'm saying?
Nope.
So you got the proof that you're doing it, but if nobody knows that this is what you're doing, then you don't have the community focused stories. And that's what we're talking about, telling the story of. So yes, you have to do it, but then the second part is you tell the story of how you did it and what was the impact that you had. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Cool beans. All right. Let's go to these announcements. So the 10 strategies in the prompt are in my show notes. There's only 2 ways you can get my show notes. Number 1, you have to be in our free community. Go to shaycannon.info/group to get into our free business mastermind group. And they live in the file section. Number 2, you can get the entire morning show in your inbox. In the morning, you'll get a reminder email to hop on YouTube. And in the afternoon, you'll get an email with 2 links. And that will be one to the replay and one to the show notes. So go to shaycannon.com/show to sign up for the show in your inbox. Tonight is Fuck Up Night, virtual happy hour night. It's usually for the paid community only, but the free community is invited to come in on the tail end. What we're doing is you bring in what's effing up in your business, and we're going to fix it over drinks, okay? So the details are in the free group. Next week, we are doing our planning for 2025 goals, okay? 2025 goals. If you sign up now, you will get as a fast action bonus a workbook for the presentation that we're going to give. But if you know you need more help with execution, you need to come behind the velvet rope and be a VIP. Sign up for the VIP intensive, where you're going to get way more tools and the replays in the success kit. All right. And we have, a whole hour long intensive past the 30-minute free training. So go to shaycannon.com/planning 2025 and sign up for the free portion. And if you know you need more help, come on behind the velvet rope and be a VIP. All right. Now, found out more about me, your host, Shay Cannon, how to be a part of the free business mastermind, and any links to the resources and events that we're having in the description below. If you haven't already, give today's episode a thumbs up, like our episode, please, and please subscribe to the channel. And just know, again, this is a 4-part series, so there are other parts. This was part 3. Make sure that you check out part 2 if you have not checked out the episode 2, because you need this whole series to create all of your stories. All right. Cool beans. That is all for today. Unless anybody has any questions, let's see what. Okay. Right. So Glow said, right. People say it does have an impact and make them think. She's talking about her podcast and the conversations that they have. Exactly. So now you need to start collecting what they're saying about the impact that you have, Glow, and sharing that as a story, a community-based story. Okay, cool. Anybody in the studio have a question before we get out of here? Dr. LaFera said, I'll send you a mocktail recipe for fuck up night. Yeah, do that. Do that. Cool beans. All right. The studio is closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.